What is up, YouTube? KingRaliant here, and we've got some very exciting news today. The PTR for January just got announced, and with it, the Expedition mutations that we have all been waiting for. Now, it looks like the PTR servers are officially opening today at 2 p.m. Pacific, so this will be available here in the next couple hours. The biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is the Expedition mutations. All right, so World of Warcraft added the Mythic Plus system. They took repetitive content and they made it challenging, added a competitive aspect to it, and they made it to where it was more enticing for the grinders and that your competitive high skilled players to want to get involved with it, especially when there was that time and that race system and also the leaderboard. All of it kind of helped. So seeing this, I'm very, very excited about. So let's take a little dive into this and see what all the specifics look like. So we've got the Expedition modifiers, mutators. So the biggest thing that stuck out to me was when they said, please be advised that recommended gear score levels for a mutated expedition is important as it factors directly into enemy scaling. I love that. So it looks like the combat scaling is going to be individual per player and separate from the base difficulty that increases in health and damage. So if I'm understanding this correctly, if you go in and everyone's just geared to the teeth, you're gonna get the most difficult challenge coming from your expedition. This isn't really what I was expecting in terms of some type of like modifier. I was expecting something way more like kind of like the Mythic Plus system, you know, some affixes, something that would change things up. But this is actually still a welcome change. It's going to make it more difficult, and adding difficulty is going to make it more enticing to want to go on those expeditions when they get kind of repetitive. The other thing with this too is it looks like they're going to be revolving this every 48 hours with the available expeditions that there is. So there's going to be a rolling cycle, and it's not just going to be like the same expedition every single week because there is only a few right now. According to this, it looks like, so they said they intend to rotate it. It's got 10 difficulty levels per expedition mutation. So I don't know what to really expect from this, but them saying we expect higher difficulties to be extremely difficult and will be very interested in group outcomes and scores, especially those who consider themselves highly competitive or highly skilled. I don't know. I'm excited to try this out in the PTR because this looks like this could be kind of nasty. It looks like this could pack up quite a wallop. I mean, Commander Thorpe, for example, before they tweaked the hell out of him, was a pain for a lot of people. So we know the dev team has got what it takes to really offer a challenge in a PvE environment. So that's going to be really exciting. Going over the scoring and advancement right here, it looks like they've got a scoring system in place. So the better the time you complete it, the better the score. You've also got a target value for killing a specific amount within the expedition. You've got a target value for killing named enemies, apparently. Each time you wipe, it reduces a score. So this is giving me a very big Mythic Plus vibe, which makes me so happy. And then you've also got each time you respawn, it reduces the score by a moderate amount. So the dev team at New World is really paying attention to the stuff that works and the stuff that people have really found enjoyable in other light games and other MMORPGs. So that makes me really happy to see because it means they're listening and they're taking that extra step to kind of look around and observe everything. On top of that, we also got some bonus multipliers for run efficiency, minimal respawning, wiping, speed, taking on targets down. It looks like we've got score ranks being based off bronze, silver, and gold. So nice little tier system there. Advancement through each difficulty requires a pre-designated level of proficiency within the highest achieved level. Higher score means advancement to higher difficulties, which lead to bigger rewards. So I know I keep saying this, but this is almost just kind of giving me that same vibe. This is basically your orb you would use for your mythic plus key. You complete it, you get in time, you get a higher key. You complete it in time, get a higher key. I mean, same system, but it works. It's good. So hats off to them. A plus on this one. I can't wait to try the PTR today. Looks like as I was saying, the schedule every 48 hours they're going to cycle between Dynasty Shipyard, Garden of Genesis, and Lazarus Instrumentality. On top of that, though, I do know that Dynasty Shipyard, if you look here, tier 5 gear has been added to Dynasty Shipyard. Now that's great, right? I think Dynasty Shipyard is probably going to be the hardest expedition when it becomes mutated, in my honest opinion. I could be wrong, but I saw more people struggle with that one than anything else. I'd even probably say the depths too, but Lazarus could be a bit of a challenge, but I'm excited to try Dynasty Shipyard mutated for sure. So it looks like we've got 8 different mutation combinations that will be randomly cycled alongside the 48-hour expedition mutation. Okay, so they will have kind of the affixes I was talking about. So it looks like I jumped the gun a little bit there. They're gonna probably be in their own way, but I'm gonna cover this more in another video when I actually get live into the PTR. So it looks like the difficulty for each mutated expedition is tracked separately and will persist across mutation cycles. They've also reduced the number of enemies when sealing the ancient Azoth portals and the Ostium and Lazarus instrumentality. Okay, a good change. Drop rates for named enemies and expeditions have been significantly increased. Okay, also a very, very solid change. I mean, you're killing the named boss, the elite boss. Normally that's the one that would give you the big drops. This is something that's more specific just to PTR, but I still think this is a really good option. They're making the PTR for trying it with gear a lot more accessible. You know, going in there and having to get just like crappy green gear and not being able to try it with max end gear or and having the craft orbs and stuff like that is just kind of like a pain in the butt. So I think this is a really good option. You know, the PTR is the point to test. So you want to get in there, test it really quickly, you know, bing, bang, boom, move on. Oh, on top of that, we've got some new features. This was a cool ad. This is called the Umbral Shard equipment upgrade system. So essentially they're raising the cap for gear score to 625 for each piece, including the expertise cap. And the 3 ways to be able to get up to 625 is you have to use Umbral Shards, which you can obtain by either completing mutated expeditions. So you're kind of given that here's how you can get it, here's the reward for getting it, and it circles back to something that's related to your gear. So really good circle back mentality that they're implementing there in the game. Crafting a gear score 600 item when your expertise with that item is also 600, something to reward the crafters. I think this is a really good ad because they're making it to where they're not ignoring the people who just want to craft. You know, instead of saying, hey, if you want to do this, you have to get into mutated expeditions. It's a good balance, right? They're not holding our hand, they're not spoon feeding it to us and taking away the challenge. They're including everybody that's playing the game in all aspects of it. So big props to them on this one. Opening a gemstone cast when your expertise for that item is also at 600. Okay, so right now the highest you can get, it seems to be like that soft cap is 590. So interested on how we're going to get this 600. I'm assuming it's going to come from doing these mutated expeditions, and then we can start utilizing the gypsum cast system. That would be my guess. Umbral Shards can only be applied to an equipment piece if both of these 2 conditions are met. The equipment piece is gear score 600. Your expertise for that piece of equipment is also 600. So, man, I've said it once before on stream and I've said it twice. I really recommend everyone definitely get involved with farming up that expertise. You do not want to slack on it. You want to jump on that. Even myself, I'm a bit behind, so I'm going to basically be putting that into overgear, especially before this goes live. I'd highly recommend it. On top of that, we got some PvP changes. Outpost Rush, they're basically increasing the cost of the summoning stones for brutes by 50%. So instead of 500 to 750 Azoth essence. Love this change. Kind of would have rather seen them maybe limit the amount of meatballs that the brutes throw at people, but I don't know. This is still going to play effect into how frequent we see those brutes get summoned. I'm not against brutes being in OPR, right? It's a cool little aspect there. But given the course of history, PvEVE has never really done the best or been the biggest attraction to a gaming audience, especially in anything like an MMORPG. Like, for example, I know when I tried out Destiny, Gambit got a lot of hate. I like to see them kind of look into this because notice that OPR is mainly for the PvPers. So don't take that away. Focus on the PvPers. So we'll see how this changes. Maybe it doesn't really play effect at all because people are still going to farm it up really quickly. I don't know. We'll have to just test it. On top of that, this is a big combat update. So bow, fixed an issue that allowed players to instantly jump cancel the bow shot recovery. This is going to be massive, and this is going to hit bow players kind of hard. I know every time I've dueled one, they basically always jump cancel. I mean, it's a part of the gameplay for it now. But you know, I mean, it's not really how that should operate, right? Like, it definitely is something that I think they need to look at. And I'm not saying just the bow. There's plenty of other issues out there that are similar to this that they need to probably address, but that one definitely was extremely weird because they didn't want that recovery system to be like that. So now you're probably definitely going to want to always do bow rapier, because with before you kind of could offer that fluidity and be able to recover quickly and be able to start dodging, where now when you take that bow shot, you got to stick to the recovery, and if you got to get away, you're going to really want to probably depend on something that can give you mitigation and mobility. So this is going to hit bow users pretty hard, I feel like, because it's just kind of become second nature to them. So that's going to be tough. But I know some pretty cracked bow players that they'll make it work. Void Gauntlet, the blessed item perk, is now available in the Void Gauntlet. This is interesting. I haven't seen a lot of Void Gauntlet, I guess, healer based players. Not saying it can't be done. Maybe this changes it up, but we'll see what happens. This is going to offer some interesting theory crafting, I feel like. Ammo refund, effects from abilities, perks, and the attribute bonus that refunds ammo. Now it's 2% cooldown, basically just slapping a little CD on that. And then it looks like the fast travel cost is being tweaked. They're dramatically reducing the distance factor and the amount of Azoth required for each trip. The faction control point bonus associated with the fast travel now reduces the distance factor to 0. I love this. I absolutely love this change. It didn't seem necessary for them to make it as high as it was. Now, granted, it was very easy to get Azoth, right? But having to always like just go through your inventory, and if you have a lot of stuff you have to go through, so you don't want to get rid of something important, it takes that extra time so you can reduce the cost. It was more of an annoyance thing, right? So this is just a QOL change, and this is a quality of life thing that needed to be added. However, this does kind of, I feel like, put the knife in the heart of the theory of mounts being added to the game. With this addition, I don't see mounts being a thing that they add anytime soon, at least until the map is triple its size right now. Because if they're making this to the point where it's going to cost almost next to nothing, you're going to be able to bounce all over the place with no problem. And there's so many shrine points, you're just going to go to it and go to the next location within 2-3 minutes. So this definitely kind of acts as the idea of mounts, I would say, just my opinion. So we'll see what happens though. But that's the PTR that's coming out. Again, is going to be going live at 2 p.m. Pacific today. I really encourage you all to jump in there, give those expedition mutations a try, especially because they're changing up how you can get some gear with these things called backstory loadouts in the PTR. So you can kind of just jump right in, have some decent gear, and kind of go from there. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, as always, stay shiny.